Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Mignot, CEO of the experience agency D-Flash. Each week, I bring on different game-changing leaders, founders, and entrepreneurs, and this week's episode is no different. I'm super excited to have Dr. Tara, who's a licensed OBGYN at NYU, also the founder of Saving Mothers, an incredible nonprofit, and Mommy Matters, which recently won the Women of Impact competition here in New York. It's going to be a great conversation. Take a listen. Hi, Dr. Tara.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. This is excellent.
It's going to be a fun conversation. So, you listen to the show, and we ask the same question every single time they take out a show, and I'm sure your answer is going to be really interesting.
Oh, no.
It's going to be interesting. I'm sure it is.
Okay.
What was your first job?
I knew you were going to ask that. So I wish it was like a little bit more exciting, but my first job, I can't lie, was a job actually filing papers for a department at my university. And it was a really well-paying job that like another friend passed along to me. So I was super excited to get it. Yeah. And, you know, I had like a work-study thing, so I was working and going to school. And so I thought it was amazing, but literally it was filing papers.
Well, you figured out how to get the job.
Right.
You used connections, and you were really good at it.
I think I was pretty good at it. I had it actually for all 4 years.
See?
And I did really well. And, you know, other people wanted that job because
nope.
I'm like, I need it. No.
So it comes to having consistency, all things.
Hard work.
All
there you
go. Go in with like what you do now.
Absolutely.
So you literally have 3 jobs.
Yes.
And I think you're really cool. Here, like, what's your background? Where are you from? Where did it all start for you?
Yeah. So I was born here in the U.S. My parents are immigrants. They were born in Iran. I actually grew up in Maryland, and then we moved to New York for a job opportunity that my parents had. They're basic scientists, researchers.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I went to public school, and then I got in actually to Brown, which was amazing. Like, I remember my guidance counselor was like, don't even bother trying for that program.
And you're like, nope, I'm going to.
I'm like, I'm just going to put in my application. Like, what can they do? Say no? So they say no. But they didn't. They said yes. So I went to Brown. I went to Brown Med. And the rest, I guess, is history.
So what made you decide to become an OB?
Well, I actually didn't think I was going to be an OB because everyone at that time, and I think they probably still say this, said, you're a woman, why do you want to be an OB? You have to be up all night, you're going to have like your own family, you're going to have, you know, other things to take care of.
So basic sexist patriarchal BS.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure every woman has had that, so... But I was on rotation in the hospital, and there was nothing more exciting than being an OBGYN. And I still think that there's so much happening every minute. You know, there's deliveries, which are amazing and beautiful. There's surgery. There's taking care of women, which I love. So it all worked really well together.
Okay, so how many babies have you delivered in your career?
Oh, thousands upon thousands. And actually, I was a resident in New York, so the funniest stories are like when I go out to dinner or I'm out on the street somewhere and a woman will come up to me and she'll be like, oh, Dr. Shirazian, oh, you delivered my daughter. And, you know, you would think like the daughter would be a few years old, but no, like the daughter's 13 or like 14. I'm like, oh my God.
It's long time.
I guess I'm older than I thought, yeah.
Like, oh crap, y'all are like almost go to college now.
I know.
Like, what a
It's so funny, yeah.
But also it's very rare to see the product of your work. Well, here's Natalie.
Right. I remember this one woman. She was like, "Come here, Erica, come here." And literally, Erica was like, she must have been like 14, and I was like, "Great." And she was like, "There's Dr. Shirazian. She delivered you." I was like, "Great." So I mean, there's no other. I mean, what other profession do you get that kind of like joy and excitement? It's wonderful being an OBGYN.
Awesome. So, being an OBGYN, you have probably run into all of these like really crazy situations, and we're talking about in terms of like women and health.
Yes.
What are some good things that women across the spectrum can think about? Because we always worry about fibroids. We worry about should we freeze our eggs? What's the real talk around this? Do you need to freeze your eggs?
No, you definitely don't need to freeze your eggs. I do think there is a lot of momentum here in New York City to basically make women freeze their eggs. It's sort of almost like a scare tactic where, the companies that are doing it say, get out there, freeze your eggs, because who knows if you'll be able to have a baby down the line. So I call that a scare tactic, really, right? So I think the things to remember are that even when you freeze your eggs, even at the cost of freezing them, which is often tens of thousands of dollars, it doesn't mean that you'll be able to use those eggs later. So the most important questions women can ask of their doctors and of these centers are, okay, so if I freeze my eggs, what's the likelihood it's going to result in a live birth? What's the likelihood that those frozen eggs will, later on, 10 years down the line, be a baby? So, I think really asking the hard questions of the people who are doing the procedures, the doctors, et cetera, will really help educate women overall. Yeah.
Awesome. And then what are some things around fibroids? Because I know this is, especially around Black women, this is a huge issue. I mean, I know more women who've had fibroids than have had babies.
Yes.
And so it seems like it's become more, I don't want to say popular, or like it's now coming more to the surface that people are having issues with fibroids. So what's the story there?
Yeah, so fibroids are, first off, very, very common. 70 to 80% of women overall, the general population, has fibroids. Black women are the number one most common group in terms of fibroids, then Asian, then Hispanic, then Caucasian, if we just look like at sort of racial risk. So, but because they're so common, most women have them. So most women know someone who's had a fibroid or more than one fibroid. The problem is that fibroids can be removed, but they come back, they recur pretty frequently. And also, I think a lot of women are being told, well, they're benign, so you don't need to do anything about them. You can just watch them. Just continue to watch them. But the problem is they grow. So they create all kinds of other problems like pain, pain during sex, pressure on the bladder, bleeding, back pain, so women are becoming anemic from fibroids. They're having other health issues. So it is really important to know your body and make sure that you get check-ins with your doctor. Make sure you ask these questions. And if you're really not feeling well, go for another opinion. If you don't get some solution at the first visit. And
once you figured out, okay, we now have those, and so I think a lot of women get freaked out. I have to have this surgery. I'm gonna have to have a hysterectomy, and
right.
That's not always the case.
No, that's often not the case. We have, first off, even surgery has all these subcategories now, right? We can do minimally invasive surgery. We operate with robots. All these cool new things. We also have other interventions that are not surgical, like where there's ablation to the fibroids, where we use MRI to decrease the size of the fibroids. So there are so many options, which is why it's important to go and discuss them with the doctor, and then also get a second opinion if you don't get enough choice among your options.
Or just call you.
Or just call me, or just come see me. Yeah. My specialty is fibroids, so I'm happy to see anyone.
So that if women do have questions around that, they can reach the doctor directly.
Absolutely.
So speaking of women with surprising health issues, how did you get to the idea of creating Mommy Matters?
Yes. So, through the years, I think one of the other really amazing things about being an OBGYN is I get to hear every day from women about what works, what doesn't work, what they wish they had, what health issues still bother them, what products they're using, what they wish was better. So it's amazing because literally I see thousands of women a year. So I always get all this information about really what products work for women. And I myself have been pregnant twice, so I know what it means to sort of be pregnant and recovering. And I've always felt like there's a void in good women's health products out there that women can use that will make their pregnancies and recoveries comfortable, efficient, and as best as it can be. And there are very few companies that focus on women's health, especially in the form of products that could make their lives better. So that's where the idea for Mommy Matters comes from, making quality, comfortable, efficient products that women need and currently don't have. So we fill a void in the market. And then a portion of our proceeds from Mommy Matters goes back to my nonprofit, Saving Mothers, that has been around for the last 10 years.
And so the products that you have, which, so you won Women of Impact, where I was a judge, and I was, blown away because I was like, one, I had no idea that some of those products were necessary because I've never had a kid. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
But the pillow, I was like, oh, I had no idea. That makes sense. A lot of my girlfriends have been pregnant, and I've seen them, always, kind of struggling, because they don't feel comfortable. So, what made you decide to kind of start with those products?
Those products. Well, so those products were really built from the fact that these are the few that I thought I really needed when I was pregnant and I could not get. So that's really why those first two products are the pillow and the postpartum recovery underwear. But what you say is so true. No one really prepares you for pregnancy and recovery at all. So, even as an OBGYN, I was not prepared. So
you're like, wait, hold on. I didn't
oh my God, this is painful. The baby's crying,
I'm in pain.
Everything's just a mess down there. You're bleeding all the time. Literally, you're in pain and you have to feed your baby. So
what the heck do I do here?
Exactly. So it's all about, finding those things that will make a woman's life easier, because we're all about prioritizing women and prioritizing their health and their self-care. So the pillow is for the professional working woman. So the reason that I came up with that idea is because if you look on the market, most pregnancy pillows are for sleep, right? And there are these huge, gargantuan. Oh my God, it's like a whole person in your bed, And we live in New York City, so having another, who has room for that? No one. So, I didn't even buy one because I knew I didn't have room for it. But I was pretty uncomfortable both during sleep and then during the day, low back pain. I'm moving a lot, working a lot, as most women are when they're working and pregnant. And so you need low back support, you need neck support, you're on subways, you're on buses, you're in the car, you're traveling, you're doing a million things. So the portable pregnancy pillow has a heating cooling element. You can slide it in to the sleeve, and you can bring it everywhere with you. And it
can fit in your bag.
It can fit in your bag. It's patented, so it has a very unique density to it, which helps accommodate for the growing pregnancy belly. And I think it's a really useful item. And actually, everyone uses it. So I have it, but my husband steals it from me all the time. He's using it sometimes more than I am because I don't need it anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So it's probably good for everyone, but the idea behind it came for the pregnant working woman.
And then what about the underwear? Because this is the thing that I had no idea about. And I was like, what?
Oh, my God. So what women often don't talk about is that when you're in the hospital after a delivery, the hospital gives you a pair of underwear. And it's like this little thin piece of mesh that probably costs 5 cents to make, and some guy, I'm sorry, men who are listening, but some guy somewhere made it. It costs 5 cents, and it's really not made of anything that's useful or sustainable, but it's all you have, right? So it's your only choice. So you put them on, and you're like, great, I have, I have a meshy thing that doesn't matter if I bleed all over it and I'm in pain, but it doesn't actually serve a unique function for you as you're recovering. So I only had one of those, and I forgot that the other thing women do is they steal the underwear from the labor floor. So I was really motivated to get out of the hospital because I knew everyone in the hospital when I delivered. So I was like, sure. I need to go home.
I cannot be around all of you people.
Exactly.
Just leave me alone.
So I didn't actually steal any underwear. So when I got home, I realized you can't buy underwear that's for pregnancy recovery.
So literally right now, you can't go on Amazon and buy postpartum underwear. I
mean, there might be one brand now. At that time, there was nothing. We didn't even, this is now a few years ago, so really Amazon didn't have the stuff that it has now. But now maybe you can buy one or two, but they're nothing like what we've created, which is the other ones that you'll see are just like big underwear.
Right.
Not anything functional. So ours is mesh. It's got a cooling element, a sleeve for an ice pack. It's got a super absorbent crotch for bleeding. You can machine wash it. You can continue to wear it on your periods even after you're done, with postpartum. So it's highly useful, and it has a lot of key features that will help in recovery.
And that doesn't exist.
No. That does not exist, no.
And why do you think it doesn't? Because I feel like if women have been stealing this for decades, obviously, why didn't this come up before?
Because who's going to prioritize it? That's how I see it. Who's going to make it a priority, right? Who's going to say, you know what, we need better women's health products? And, they need to be designed or have intel from women, right?
Oh, you mean that little problem? Doesn't happen very often? Yeah, I feel like that oftentimes is the issue. It's like, when you look at like even tampons or pads, you're like, was these designed by women? No,
yeah. Right. Who designed these?
Why are they colored? I don't black, like simple stuff like black and white. So it's like not super flowery stuff that's all in your bag. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
So you kind of get it, like that they're. The people who should be making these things are not making these things.
Right, exactly. And every woman has confronted that when they go and buy various products. But, we really want that women's health space to be better for women, because it will not only help in their comfort and recovery, it will help them just be healthier, and also to feel like someone prioritizes them and cares about them. Immediately postpartum, everyone is all about the baby. And I think products and services for women are always a second to newborn items and products. Like, think about a baby registry, right? Or birth registry. It's all about the baby. No one gifts the mom really much of anything. So
it's like a push present if you're a good
right. Right, that's true. You do get that.
But yeah, I feel like it's just interesting because, like, as someone who's aunt to a lot of kids, again, if I knew that, like, this existed, like, of course I'm going to buy that for you because hello. Yeah. Or the pillow. And I think that this universe of products, I mean, the baby industry is just so bananas. Like, I'm going to a good friend of mine's shower this weekend, and I was like, okay, what is it she has in the registry? And I'm like, what?
And I promise you, most of that stuff you will never use, because I've had a lot of those other products. Even of the baby products, you'll use a handful that are really purposeful. Yeah, the Sophie you definitely use. But, it's women's products are important for the mom, and the mom, if, they're efficient and made well, she'll continue to use them. And actually, we have 4 new products coming out in the next few months, so we're going to keep making products for women. And not only pregnancy recovery, but we'll then go on to sort of other health as well. But the next product is it's like a belly band for postpartum or post C-section recovery that will support the abdomen if someone has a C-section incision or any surgical incision, because I do also a lot of surgeries, so this will also be really helpful for women who are post-surgical. It will support the belly to minimize pain. You can wear it under your clothes. It'll be breathable, efficient, and look much different than any of the other belly bands out there.
And again, because people aren't thinking to make these for women. It just blows my mind that you don't think about this. But then it's like you can think of every baby thing under creation. I mean, the amount of stuff I have bought for girlfriends of mine who've had kids, and I'm just like, what? This universe of stuff is just massive. I mean, it's a racket.
It really is massive. Yeah.
But like the idea that there's not underwear.
Right.
Like, how do you not have underwear? What in the entire? This is crazy.
Right.
So you've made all these really incredible products. How did Saving Mothers come about?
Yeah, so the last thing I was going to say there is that we need other women sort of changing the conversation, right? And making sure that women have the products. And more these days, we see more of it. Like, I think we're definitely heading in the right direction as far as, like, women being vocal about what they need and making sure we have the health products we need. But we want women to have a voice in the health sector, and we will be that voice, and we want to continue to grow that voice. So speaking of voices, right, Saving Mothers is a nonprofit that I started 10 years ago now. I started it in 2009. And we basically execute programs globally to decrease death in pregnancy and childbirth. So we focus on maternal mortality. It's our number one issue. And we're all over the globe in countries where there are really high rates of maternal death, where there aren't good programs in place for women to prevent bad outcomes, and where there's little access to things like reproductive care and services. So we focus on training and teaching local providers and developing low-cost, high-impact solutions for women. We've been around the globe doing this. It's been amazing, and we've seen a lot of really great results.
And how are you able to, aren't you busy enough? How are you able to start this and keep it running?
I am super busy, to tell you the truth. But I started a decade ago now. So a lot of our programs in country have teams that are local. So we basically employ our local Kenyan team who works for us and with us to develop the programs, make sure the women are coming in for services and getting, the services they need throughout pregnancy, and that we're continuing to have good impact. Same thing in Guatemala. So to make the programs the most sustainable, we have local teams. And that is really, as far as global health goes, you really need local influence to really have the biggest impact. And now we're starting a New York City program, and we're connecting with the community groups that have been out there doing the work so that we can have, again, the most sustainable programs for women that really make use of resources.
So speaking of that, obviously there's a lot of news around, especially black women having higher maternal rates. We're talking about Serena Williams and Beyonce, and if it could happen to them, then me in the future. What do we do? How are your programs sort of set up and structured to sort of help people in communities sort of understand what's happening here in New York?
Yeah. So I think the big thing that we do, the model in which the Saving Mothers programs is based, is that we have to get out into the community and we have to partner with the first line providers. So instead of always going to the hospitals and talking to the doctors, right, we go into the community and talk to the people who are taking care of the women. So like in Kenya, there are no doctors. So we go to the traditional birth attendants who have never been trained, and we train them in how to identify emergencies. So that's how we start globally. So we're basically picking up our global model and applying it here in New York, which is kind of cool. I just like that it's like applicable. It's applicable because there are these groups out in the community taking care of black women in the community who are at risk or at maybe even high risk, depending on like underlying medical issues, etc. But they have already been serving them. They've already been going into the homes and helping them like get the services that they need. So how can we improve upon what they provide women? The education they provide women, but also some of the tools they give women to better be heard when they go into the centers and to the hospitals. How do we empower women in the home to know if they have an issue? So we involve women themselves in understanding their health. We involve the first line health providers, and then we improve those connections with the hospitals and the community health centers.
Happy holidays, Reset listeners. I've got something special for you just in time for the holidays. It's from our friends over at Masterclass. What's Masterclass? Well, Masterclass lets you learn from the best with online courses taught by masters of their craft. So you get everything from Shonda Rhimes teaching about TV writing, Anna Wintour teaching about creative leadership, Don von Fosselberg talking about building a fashion brand, which is totally interesting considering our conversation today with Kim Jenkins. And my personal favorite, we've got Serena Williams, who teaches tennis. So I just took this course, and it's pretty amazing. There are over 60 instructors with tons of categories. There's literally something for everyone. If you've ever wanted to learn something by the best people in the world, this is the app for you. So now, for a limited time only, when you buy one annual Masterclass All Access Pass membership for yourself, you get another one to gift for free. So think about the people who are so hard to buy for. This is a gift for them. So just go to masterclass.com/reset. So go ahead, check it out. Masterclass.com/reset. Happy holidays. I'm hearing more and more about doulas being like the thing everyone gets. Again, I know nothing because I have Medicaid. What does a role of a doula have with regard to sort of guiding a woman as she's on her pregnancy journey?
Right. Doulas are wonderful. And the thing that I like about doulas, the way I would think about doulas they are your advocate, right? So every woman needs an advocate, whether it be your partner that's your advocate, your mom that's your advocate. But I tell every woman, like, you need someone, like, you need a support person, because you're going to be tired. You could be really sick at one point and need to get to the hospital. You need someone who's going to help you be your voice and who knows what you want. So doulas function in that capacity. They're advocates for women. So they help women get the services that they need. And they help women, they speak up for what a woman needs sometimes, like in the community center space or in the hospital setting. So I think doulas are great. I think it varies woman to woman. Some women might have really good partners that are really strong advocates, but many don't. So it's all about having someone there that will help you be heard.
And then once you're heard, and then you've got this baby, then what?
Oh God! Then it's like, God knows, it's so. Delivery is crazy and very unpredictable. So actually, what I tell women all the time is that it's not so important to have a birth plan, and I really believe this. I don't really think it's that important to have a birth plan, because, to tell you the truth, you don't get much say. Yeah, you don't get much say at birth, right? It's like, things are going to happen. Your doctor's going to have to respond. And at the end of the day, you just have to believe in your doctor so that you're getting the kind of care that you want, right? But you can't really pick and choose between like a vaginal and a C-section. You just want a healthy baby and a healthy mommy. That's always the goal. So, but instead of a birth plan, I really think every woman should think about a recovery plan. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, not only the stuff that you need, because you do need stuff, right? You want to make sure that you're as comfortable as possible. You have the things you need for recovery. You kind of know what to expect, i.e. pain and bleeding and, having to really deal with breastfeeding or bottle feeding, whatever you choose. But also having the people around you that are going to help you in your recovery process, and then also empower those people. That's what I like to tell them. Empower them. Help your partner understand that, he or she can bottle feed the baby. Bottle feed with your breast milk if you want.
Go for it. Right.
Or, give you a little space to have that extra sleep. Wake up a few times at night for you. Like, build your team, build your community, and really let other people help you, because you are not in this alone.
You're not Superwoman.
You are not Superwoman, and you don't want to be. I think a lot of women think, no, I could do it all. I want to do it all. Believe me, I'm guilty of that myself. But
because we're all trying to, as we do, but we cannot do it all.
No, and having a team, it's going to make it so much better for you. Right? You're going to get that little bit extra sleep. Maybe you'll go on a walk outside. Maybe you'll be able to mentally sort of process everything that's happening better.
You did bring a human life into the world. Like, it just got to be a bit of a shell shock to you.
It's insane. And then you have a newborn to take care of, and you don't know the first thing about taking care of a newborn, because none of us do. They cry all the time. Why are you crying? They're not answering.
You can't speak to me. You're like, okay, great. And so, I think oftentimes, women, especially when they're sort of big, powerful women and working, and then all of a sudden they become new moms. They're like, what do I do now? What are some of the things that you sort of recommend, so like from a postpartum side of the universe, so you start to get back to who you are, because you can't be who you were?
Right. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I think that's a little different for each woman, but I do think, as you navigate postpartum and understanding, that it's definitely a tug, because you feel like you want to be with your new baby. You're feeling all these new emotions. You never knew you could love another person as much as you love your child. But then it's sort of that piece of you that has always loved working. You have a career that you love. You want to make sure you continue to give that attention. So it's a balancing act. But the thing I would say about that is just don't be hard on yourself. It's all okay. Like, you want to go to work and your work allows you to go for a few hours and have flexible hours, take it. Do it. Take the time. Take the time. It's always amazing to me. Like, I'll do a surgery or we're talking, let's say, about operating and offering a surgery for one of my patients, and she'll say, no, but I want to be back to work in a week. And I'm like, why? Why? You are entitled to 3 to 4 weeks.
At least.
At least. You need to take that time. Tell them, I won't be back for 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And then if you are, great. Same thing with postpartum care. We're really bad at it in this country. Women take months, to have postpartum leave and go back when they're ready. There are countries that give you a full year, by the way. Canada.
Thank you. It's like, and your job is safe.
And your job is fine and safe.
I think that, what happens here especially is that because of the fact that, especially if you're a founder, for example, and, your business is your first baby. Like, this is like one of my kind of big fears as a founder. Because really I'm like, okay, so in the future when there's a dude and then there's a kid, it's like, well, what do I do? Because, like, my first kid is the business. And I think a lot of female founders especially have this sort of freak out in your head in terms of, like, I know I have sort of done this. Like, I sort of waited longer because I wanted to sort of get my business to a point where I felt like, okay, I could potentially, like, pay attention more to dating and then, go off and have a kid. And now I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of a dumb idea.
Right. There's no really great time. But women tell me that every single day. I completely understand that. And I think you have to go back to work. You go back to work. You know what I mean? I had to go back to work. I went back to work after 5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. People think, like, OBGYNs have safe jobs. No, not really. You don't get paid if you don't work. So
I have to bring
even at a hospital. But then I think that goes back to the team. You just want to have your team. Like, you want to have the caregiver that you think is really going to take good care of your newborn, give you some time and rest, or have a team of people that do it. There are very, unconventional ways to do things now, right? So you can have a whole team of people that helps you take care of your baby. If that's what you need, that's what you should have.
It does take a village.
It takes a village. Yeah.
That wasn't a joke. It's like, because I know friends of mine who've had kids, and you're like, okay, can you be the person who just, like, orders us food?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. What do you guys want? And, like, just set it up. And, like, and I think that's sometimes things that you can do. Because I'm always the person who's like, how do you be practical here? Like, what do you actually need?
Yes.
Not the fluffy BS. Like, do you, like, one of my friends, and they had a baby, and her husband was like, what do you guys need? Like, we love some wine. I'm like, done. I will send you a case. And so I did. And they're like, you have no idea how much it helps. I'm like, great.
Exactly.
But, like, if people don't know what you need, then they can't help, because people want to help.
Right.
But I think oftentimes superwoman problem.
Superwoman problem, and maybe every woman isn't as good at delegating.
Delegate? What's that?
I mean,
what?
I'm like pretty good at delegating. I have to say that's how I have many things.
You have many
delegate, right? Because if you don't have a team that, like, you trust, like your girlfriends, your mom, a babysitter, whoever, your partner, and you say, okay, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this for me, like, once a week or whatever, and you're going to do X, and you're going to do Y. You're not gonna be able to have the time and space sometimes that you need. So, yeah, I'm all about delegating.
So I sort of know how to delegate. To a degree, I sort of. So what would you tell 25-year-old Dr. Tara? Even though I don't think at 25 you're Dr. Tara yet.
No.
Based on what you know now.
Oh my God! I would never have thought I would be doing all this. Really.
Really.
Yeah.
You were pre-med at that point, I'm guessing?
I was pre-med. Well, I was actually about to graduate med school at 25, because med school graduation is 26. But I didn't know. I was just trying to get through med school. I was like,
oh my
med
God.
school sucks. It's so hard. The hours are so long. Talk about not having any time or space to breathe. Like, you're just studying all the time, at least in those days. I'm sure still now. But, I would probably say what I say now, which is like, just take more time for yourself and do less.
Like, give yourself a break.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's probably what we all need. But I love what I'm doing. I love Mommy Matters. I love being an OBGYN. I love saving mothers. I love being able to prioritize women's health and to have a voice and a platform for women, because that's really what this is all about. It's all about increasing the awareness of women's health issues and make sure that it all gets the priority that it needs, both for women here in the United States and for women around the globe. Because many, many, many times I've been told that women's health is not a priority, and I think that, I want to change that conversation. So that's really what all of this is about.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, so now you've changed the world. It's amazing. Now every pregnant woman will have a Mommy Matters pillow and underwear
and other associated products. Yeah.
Then we will have on the baby registry on Bye Bye Baby at some point, and then hopefully Giggle, because I know all of these sites. Because again, so many girlfriends that kids. Oh my god. But what do you do to take care of Dr. Tara? Like, what's your, how do I escape? Is there a place you go for a glass of wine? Do you go for a hike? Because, I started asking this question this year because I realized that I think we all forget that we have got to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And the more that we can highlight the fact that even though people are busy, boss ladies, boss mans, doing crazy, awesome stuff, the ability to sort of give yourself a break is also imperative to your success.
Absolutely. I just read an article that they gave workers. Did you see this article? Workers in Tokyo, like an extra day off. And productivity shop.
Thank you for the day off. I will be super efficient before I have to work.
Right.
I have a 3-day weekend.
Right.
It shouldn't have made easy sense. You give me an extra day off, I will be much better of an employee the 4 days you're making me work because I want the 3-day weekend.
Right. Exactly. So I definitely have been better about taking more time for myself. But I will say the things that I do are run. I do love running specifically. And I think it's because very early on, when I was in medical school and when I was studying all the time, it was the only thing I could do that would release a lot of stress I felt and also make me feel good immediately after. So running was one of those things that I've been doing now for 20 plus years, and I personally love it. I mean, everybody has their own form of exercise, but I really think that it helps because it's stress relieving and then makes you feel good all day. It's better than crack. I'm never taking crack, but like a drug.
Yes,
it's
for you, it's your drug.
Right.
And where do you run?
Usually outside, usually around Central Park or at the reservoir. So, but outside is best. If I can't because it's too cold, I'll just go to the gym and run. But anywhere that I can run makes me feel good. And I like the outdoors, but I live in New York City, so I don't get to do enough of the hiking, which I do love, actually. And I love to ski, which I'll do 2 times a year, maybe 3 times a year max. But, outdoor activity is great for that. It's just again, adrenaline boosting.
You get some fresh air into your lungs.
So good. So I love those things. I'll go for a massage every few months when I can remember.
Yes. I kept putting in my, I tried to keep up earlier this year having it in my calendar. I would go for a massage.
Once a month? That's so much better,
and it worked for 2 months.
Yeah. I will say I'll get there every 2 to 3, but I really do try and go because I also think that really resets you, makes you feel rejuvenated. Yeah. Also go out at least once a week.
Yes. You've got to leave your house.
Yes.
And even whatever you're working on, just go out somewhere, anywhere. I just do it. I when it was the summertime, I was a really big fan of my Sunday afternoon walks. Because I live downtown, and so I would just walk the West Side Highway, and people were zooming by me on like their bikes and running. And I'm like, I'm just gonna walk. I'm gonna listen to something on Audible, a new book or a podcast, and just like veg out for a good hour.
That's great.
And because you just need that sort of like, okay.
You need that like mind, because otherwise your mind is always working, right? You're always thinking about what else is on my list and what else am I supposed to be doing. The thing actually that I like, this is really funny, but I will watch house TV, home TV, like renovations. I have nothing to renovate. Yeah,
you talk about like that. Yes. I love HGTV.
I love HGTV. I have nothing to renovate, right?
Nothing.
It's not like I'm going to go renovate anything anytime soon.
But it's such a television. I love it or list it.
Yes.
Anything to Property Brothers.
Property Brothers, House Hunters, Love It or Listed, Island Hunters. I've seen all of them, okay?
Flip or Flop.
Right, Flip or Flop. Yep.
Well, yeah,
there's the new one where they pitted the 4 designers against each other to see who makes the best house. Have you seen that one? It's a new one.
Oh, I gotta check this out. Well, and I also love My Lottery Dream Home.
Oh, love it.
Oh my God, David Ross.
Oh my God. You know what? I know, he's so funny. You know what else you really like? I don't know who does the sound for this one, but there's like, how much will X amount buy you in different parts of the country? So like, and there's like this announcer guy that's like $250K. It'll give you a parking spot in Brooklyn or a mansion in Tennessee, you know?
It's so weird. I mean, it is fascinating because like when, what was it? When they had Fixer Upper with like,
Joanne Gaines and Chip Gaines, yeah.
And we're like, in Waco, Texas, you could buy a house for like $75,000. We put like $10,000 on the renovation. It's now worth $150,000. Like, what? And I was like, why do I live in New York?
Where do I live? I know.
Yeah, that can get me. A very small parking space in Manhattan. Like, you know, 4-bedroom house.
So funny.
But yeah, you just have to sort of like figure out places to kind of veg out and like figure it out. So what's next for Mommy Matters? So you won Women of Impact. So you're gonna be working with all of our awesome partners to like help,
excited,
to grow and build out. So what's happening next?
So I feel, so fortunate to have won that pitch. It's really been amazing because I have access to such a phenomenal network of people that I would never have gotten to meet otherwise. So really, like, thank you for today. And I thank all of our, all of the other people who agreed to provide something for the pitch because it's amazing for us. So we're going to do, Berlin Cameron's doing some rebranding for us. We're going to do some marketing with Centro. We have some legal advice help. I mean, we have like this whole package is $100K of services. It's crazy. I mean, so we would never have been able to afford all this, A. B, we're getting so many wonderful people to help us as part of this and help us spread awareness and basically teach people about who Mommy Matters is. So I am super excited. So we plan to use all of that great energy to our advantage, get out there, really teach people about Mommy Matters. And then next is to make a few new products. So we're going to have like 4 more products on the docket. We're going to be at Luminary in February again, with another second launch for our next set of products. So if people hear this and want to come join us, we would love it. We'll be at Luminary sometime in probably second week of February. Just to like follow us and help us build the community and teach other people about who we are, get our products, and really be part of this Mommy Matters community, both for women here and for women around the world.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Tara, it's been a delight to have you on this show. I can talk to you about women's health all day long.
We'll talk offline some more.
But I just think it's so important that people understand that, you can get back to yourself. And especially if you're a new mom, like there are products available. And if you are pregnant, there are products available. But also, just in general, I think women's health oftentimes doesn't get the proper shine and the proper understanding of what you actually need. And there's tons of misinformation out there. So it's just a delight that you're a wonderful resource. And we'll be putting all of Dr. Tara's information in the show notes so that you can reach out to her and answer questions, which she does really quickly and easily and in plain English. We'll just continue to watch you go and support you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And that's our show.